Ladies and gentlemen, this is El Cochino, Tom Lawler, and I'd like to welcome you to the podcast that puts the lotion on its own skin, LuchaWorld. Bitchin'.
LuchaWorld Podcast, episode number 106.
Yes.
Yes, this is a familiar voice from a long time ago.
Kurt Brown is back.
The Freak. Here to introduce Fredo.
Yes, he's not watched any wrestling whatsoever.
I have not watched a thing in the longest time. Except for the opening match with Coyote.
Kurt is only watching opening matches now. That's his thing. The one match...
because I can relate to them.
The one match I skip, Kurt will be watching, and we will recap every opener. The next LuchaWorld podcast will feature a recap of every CMLL opening match of the last 2 years.
Yeah, but I have to go back and watch the ones in Puebla first.
Oh, that's even better.
There you go. Opening
match from Puebla, Tuesdays and Fridays.
There we go. I think goodness. I have my weeks planned now.
I think that's your new.
I have a purpose in life.
That's your new thing on the podcast. So we're in Las Vegas this week.
Cauliflower Alley Convention 2019.
I was gonna do a podcast a couple weeks ago, but as many of you listening probably know, it was the finals of the Torneo Increible de Parejas in CMLL. And I figured I might as well wait till after that to do the podcast. Not a lot's been going on, actually. Like, there's been a little bit of a lull since WrestleCon.
It's been a bit of a dry spell, hasn't it?
Yeah, especially in Lucha.
Yeah, and at the same time, are CMLL audiences, the attendance still strong? Or?
Yeah, they're doing pretty well on the Friday shows. And even, like, there was a Tuesday show that did well. But it's because it was a vacation time.
I mean, I was curious. Do you have a notion of why the attendance remains strong? Because
those opening matches.
Because they have been weak lineups, and what little I actually have watched.
There's a mix of the tourists that attend.
It's kind of a thing.
Yeah,
now.
And so it's the thing now. To like, oh, I got to go to a CML show. But yeah, they've had a couple of good shows. They've had a couple of bad shows. The Puebla shows, I think everybody's pretty much given up on. The Tuesday shows there's some people that still like watch a handful of matches from that, but it's just not the same right now.
So now that said, the
tournament final.
The tournament final.
Yeah. Cavernario Titan versus Volador Jr. and Ultimo Guerrero.
Now that is a great lineup.
That was a good match, really good. It was awesome just to see Titan be in the mix with these guys.
Yes.
They very easily could have gone with Dragon Lee or somebody young that's already established, but they've gone with Valiente in the past. But I thought it was cool that they went with Titan.
Oh, yeah, and as you know, that is one of my favorite matches of the last 5 years was the Increible tournament. One was Volador and Cavernario against Valiente and Ultimo Guerrero. That was just like a great match. I never think of the Increible's tournament as this big deal and stuff like that, but it seems like the finals at least seem to be a pretty big deal.
What was cool about it this year was that Cavernario and Titan are from the same region. They kind of started at the same time. They're Guadalajara, Jalisco guys, and they were kind of building up to the whole idea that they were going to be like. Titan wanted to continue teaming up with Cavernario, and then on the other team, Volador Jr. and Ultimo Guerrero, Volador Jr. wanted to continue teaming up with Ultimo Guerrero after the tournament. But when Titan was talking about wanting to continue teaming up with Cavernario, Cavernario was like giving the opposite responses. So like when Titan would be like, I want to smash heads. That was his whole thing, like smash heads, destroy opponents. Cavernario was like, no, I want to just win anyway. I don't want to be disrespectful. And he was just being very polite and everything.
Right.
Because Cavernario, basically his gimmick now in promos is that he's basically very... when he does the interviews...
I don't think he can kid anybody.
When he does the interviews, like post-match, he does them as the wild man. But when he does them, like... He's dressed up. He's doing an interview and like CML Informa. He looks like he's very professional. He doesn't want to be like he's the ultimate clean. Like he's not a heel, like a full on heel. Well, he's a respectful type of heel.
And when we saw him at that show when he was selling the T-shirts, you could see a guy who just seems to have more charm oozing out of him. How much of a heel could you really be with?
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell people just love that guy.
And that's the thing. I think he's one of those guys, kind of like the Nero Casas, Ric Flairs, guys like that at some point you can't boo them.
Exactly.
And that's what's going to end up happening to him. He's really good. And this match, I thought this match was really good. They did everything. Titan in the previous tournament, when they won, he did the worm, and he did it so poorly. And even he figured out that he wasn't made for that. But yeah, they didn't try it in this. He didn't really try it. Cavernario did. I thought this was a really good match just because Titan got the win over Ultimo Girl.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
So, then Volador Jr. pinned Titan, but the fact that Ultimo Girl let Titan be the guy that beat him, that tells you what...
That says a lot. I mean, that's a genuine elevation.
Yeah. And then, the post-match angle basically was Ultimo Girl... Oh, well, during the third fall, they had these really campy certain moments where Titan was like... Oh, no, where Ultimo Girl would miss and accidentally hit Volador Jr. a couple of times. And then at one point, Volador Jr. was going to do a dive, and Ultimo Girl was holding one of the guys. Well, that guy moved out of the way, and Ultimo Girl caught him, and instead of just letting go of Volador Jr., he powerbombed him.
Oh my god!
So, on the floor. So they continued that, and then at the end, he turned on him when Volador Jr. was getting stretchered out. Ultimo Girl turned on him and attacked him. So they basically got the big angle. But Titan and Cavernario, I mean, after the match, they said they wanted to be a regular tag team. Which, of course, it's CMLL. It's probably not going to happen.
Exactly. So, really, it'll be more of the same.
Yeah, it's the bad thing about CML. They have so much talent and, so many great wrestlers, but then they don't book them in a way where you're going to want to see them.
Right.
Because you just realize they're just going to do the same match over and over again until they finally get a big single.
Yeah, it's like I say, I still have the urge to watch CMLL. I still enjoy it, but I'll be the first to say very formulaic and, don't stray out of the comfort zone. Yeah. Especially with elevating people.
Yeah.
But they are smart to push people like Cavernario, though. They have a...
Yeah, and then they had... They announced during the show that they were going to start CMLL versus The Crash.
Oh, yes.
Which I thought was, great. So immediately, I think every single one of us who was thinking about, oh man, Rebelión Amarilla, Hijo Fantasma, Bestia 666. I mean, Lucha Brothers kind of can't be in that because of the whole, I don't know if they can or can't, but I mean, I would assume they can't because they were booked for a show, they didn't end up going. But there's other guys that are on Banditos with The Crash. And so everybody's like, man, imagine all these guys. Flamita, I mean, Flamita's booked in AAA that day, so he wasn't going to be on it. And so everybody's excited. It's going to be CML versus The Crash. What happens next day? They announced one match, which is fine. But I mean, if they would have just said it's one match, I think people would have been okay with it. But they made it sound like it was the whole headline. CML versus The Crash, and it ended up just being that.
Wow.
It's going to be Niebla Roja Angel de Oro versus... well, actually, by the time I post this, it's going to be already afterwards, so... Because it's going to be that same Friday, but it's going to be them versus Adam Brooks and the Mecha Wolf. Maybe they're going to do more. I hope they do more with it.
But if that's it...
Yeah.
It's like...
I think I think they're going to do more. I think they're going to do one match every so often.
Gotcha.
But I think it'll work out. Yeah, so that the rest of that show, I think the only thing that I thought was really good was Hechicero versus Valiente.
I imagine
that was really good.
The lightning match.
Yeah, Hechicero's been... it's funny because a lot of us complained about Hechicero not being on... He was doing the commentary for the TV show, so he couldn't wrestle. So then everybody's like, oh, great, they're just going to have Hechicero as a commentator. A week later, he's now wrestling almost on every single show he's on.
Very cool.
So that's good. So another big news out of CML, Rey Cometa is actually... I don't know if you've seen him recently.
I saw his new getup.
Yes, it's an Indian.
Yes,
yeah.
I like it.
He's thinking of possibly changing his name, which everybody thinks is the wrong thing to do.
I think he should...
Just keep it. I like Rey Cometa.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's had it long enough.
Yes.
It's silly, like the artist formerly known as
He's gonna keep Cometa, but I guess he wants to change something out of it. But which was why?
That's silly.
You just go with Rey Cometa. Don't
I do
change
like
it.
his. Yeah, I did see his new look. I do like it.
Best of Super Juniors was announced, and there are 3 luchadors going to be in this tournament. we can see all these guys. Mm-hmm. Well, one of them's gonna do well because Dragon Lee's the IWGP.
He's there now.
Yeah, junior heavyweight champion. But he's not gonna win because the guy who wins ends up challenging him. Mm-hmm. So I don't even know why he's in the tournament, honestly. But it's good matches though.
So he could wrestle himself.
Yes. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe he'll decide, hey, I'm gonna win. He wins, and maybe they bring in somebody else to challenge him. You know,
that'd be awesome.
Dragon Lee's in it. Titan is in it.
Nice.
And a guy who's gonna make it to New Japan by way of not CMLL, Bandito.
No way.
Bandito will be in this.
Sweet.
He's excited about it.
Oh, so, that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. He's an awesome guy. So
that's cool that things are happening.
He's a good wrestler.
For him.
Yeah, I think he's gonna. I wouldn't be shocked if he's the one that ends up doing well in this. There's always going to be somebody that does poorly. A luchador's going to do poorly, and it's probably going to be Titan. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be... I don't know if it's going to upset CML that if Bandito does well. Because, I mean...
Good question.
You know, I don't think they even care, honestly. They're so fucking indifferent to everything. It's like...
Well, you know, yeah, well, I mean, because there's a history. Sometimes they'd push a wrestler like Negro Casas in Japan, but a lot of guys, they just kind of keep on the bottom of CMLL, and CMLL never really seemed to... care one way or the other.
Yeah, they're very indifferent to this stuff. Mm-hmm. So you heard about that Hulk Quatrero, Sofia Alonso relationship?
Yeah, and that got me very curious. Now, if he marries into the family, that might be the smartest move.
Is he going to be the Triple H where he takes over and suddenly Sábado Retro becomes really cool? Like, that's the show everyone's going to want to watch?
Well, just as long as it's one of the Junior Dinamitas who marries into the family and not Diamante Azul.
Oh, yes.
So if marrying into the family means that we get to see more influence of the Dinamitas, I'm all for it. I approve it. I bless this marriage.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because I think a lot of fans reacted to it kind of oddly about it, but it's like, it's very common in wrestling.
Oh, it is. Totally.
Yeah, it's
totally.
Like, I think when everybody saw Sofia Alonso, they probably figured what guy is going to date her. That's what I thought right away. Mm-hmm. I mean, the guys date the ring girls.
Yes,
so, I mean, you kind of figured a good-looking owner around a bunch of good-looking dudes that are showing their bodies and shit like that.
I knew that was going to happen. It's going to happen, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like...
I think the difference is it's a little more acknowledged these days where if that was happening like in the 50s, 60s, you keep it secret.
Yes, yeah.
At any cost.
That's what we were talking about also. It's like this sort of thing, it would have taken years for people to find out, or maybe like they would have kept it quiet to the point where nobody ever knew. Because, it's, I think one of the things, and it's more so with women, where like they don't want fans to know that they're in relationships, because that kind of like that changes the way the
it takes away the crush factor. These teenage boys. She's available.
Yeah, then Forastero's married to Ultimo Girl's daughter.
Wow.
I mean, jeez.
The family bond just gets stronger in Lucha, doesn't it?
Who's Universo dos Mil Jr. gonna marry?
Yes.
He marries into some family. He'll probably end up marrying one of the Casas, whatever.
There you go.
Whatever remaining Casas daughters
available. This is going to be the most complex family ties ever.
Yeah. You knew about Tirantes leaving CMLL?
I did hear about that. What's the story?
What are you sad about it?
I think I'll miss Tirantes. No,
you won't.
I won't. Okay.
What do you think you would? Or you don't? You haven't watched enough where you?
No, I haven't. No. Actually, I got to tell you what I specifically liked about Tirantes was that one season he hosted
the judging. Everybody who like talks, and when people ask me, I go, the only thing I thought he did really well was the En Busca de un Ídolo.
Yeah.
I go, but his refereeing the last year and a half in CML has gotten worse.
Really bad.
Because he started doing a lot of showboating, like lifting his arms and remember how he does, and it's kind of gotten to the point
kind of making himself the show instead of an accessory to the show.
But it was kind of weird because he quit at a certain point, and he said he had other projects, he wanted to do other stuff, and suddenly the AAA TV show on Azteca announces that they're gonna debut a new announcer. It ends up being Tirantes. So that was one of the stories going on.
Interesting.
Yeah. Diamante Azul. He's missing.
What?
He's missing. Where is he?
I have no idea.
He hasn't been on any CMLL shows of late. I don't know if he probably is.
I'm going to start watching again.
Yes. Everybody's like, can we get rid of Diamante Azul wherever he's working out? But it's weird because he hasn't been working a lot of CMLL shows, but he's working a lot of independent.
Oh,
shows.
so I wonder if there's a little discord in the office. I hope so too.
I hope he's gone.
Yeah, he is.
I'm still pissed at him for what he did to Zacharias when he tossed him to the side.
Yes.
I mean that was a shit thing.
Deal breaker. That's a deal breaker.
Yeah.
Good.
You know, I was asking Joel Deaton if he ever thought about going to Mexico, if he ever had a chance to go to Mexico, and he's like, "No, I never got a chance." Like, dude, you guys would have done well. I mean,
he would have gone over
him and Billy Black
easily. They would have really gotten over.
You know, there's a lot of guys I always thought would have done well in Mexico, like PG-13, guys like that.
And you know, a lot of that was...
Although Jamie probably would have gone crazy down there.
There's some people... Well, you know, Chris Colt went to Mexico and was deported very shortly after.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
Because, I mean, Teddy Hart's kind of like that type. Also,
exactly.
Where it's like, you just...
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, what were we talking about?
About... Joel Dean and Billy Black.
Oh, yeah. What I remember, like, you know, because when I was trained, it was early 80s, and there was such a negative stigma to going to Mexico for a lot of people.
Yeah.
The smart wrestlers loved it, especially because UWA for a while.
Yeah, well, that's what Joel said. His brother went there.
Yeah, that was...
Haas Deaton.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's cool. Which we'll probably do an interview with him.
That would be
so
wonderful.
You guys will catch that at some point. It'll probably be on my other website, Retro
Absolutely.
Wrestling. So Diamante Azul's been missing. He had like an injury, and suddenly he's been missing. But you know, at least we still have Shocker around. You know who's actually
Shocker over.
Well, you know who's actually looked pretty good, but you got to keep him away from Shocker, and unfortunately they don't. Ray Bucanero.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's looked pretty good.
Oh, cool.
Like he hasn't looked that bad at her, but he'll have his moments where he looks horrible, but it's like, yeah.
It was interesting. I saw the 6-man. I don't think it was this last Friday, but the Friday before, where both Atlantis Jr. and is it Hijo de Villano Tercero were in there.
Yeah.
And it's funny, they should not be putting those two in the ring with each other. It's like, it looked okay. The match looked smooth as long as they were in with somebody more experienced.
Yeah.
But the minute the two of them lock up together, it's just their greenery just shows.
Yeah, and I think Atlantis Jr.'s not... Like, he's okay, but he's
not ready for that.
He's not
level
ready
push.
right now, yeah. And, you know, the bad thing is CML doesn't have anybody out. Like, also a lot of veterans, they don't have a lot of good veterans to carry them. Because a lot of the veterans they have are more like, you know, veterans that are, you know, they can't move as well anymore. Because if you look at their matches, there's always like one old guy. Atlantis dad, Atlantis father, he's not good at all. I don't know if you've seen him lately.
No, I have. It's hard.
He gets in, does his spot, and he gets out.
Man,
so that forces Atlantis Jr. to do more. And
that's a lot of pressure.
That's a lot.
And when they're giving him, I think they're pushing him beyond his capacity for the moment.
See, I think you should. What they should do, they should rebuild that group, the trio that they had with Guro Maya Jr. Put him in there, let him be the worker, because that guy loves to wrestle. He's like, if you just give him something to do, he'll be motivated enough to do it. Yeah, so I think they should actually get him. And he could carry more of the match, but usually it's just random guys like Caristico or Angel de Oro or something like that. But it's like there's no real flow to it. So yeah, it's rough. But Villano 3 Jr., the brother that's in AAA.
Yes,
he is getting there.
Because I was going to say, I remember you told me one of them was really sharp.
He is really good.
Okay.
The one in CML, he's a little more behind. I think it might be just because he just hasn't been getting.
I was going to say, it's not like he's bad. It's just he's not bad. So green. Yeah, his greenness shows. You know.
You know what they need? They need these guys to do what Super Astro Jr. did. Super Astro Jr. late last year, he said one day, you know, I watched a couple of my matches, and he said I wasn't happy with myself. This was while he was hurt. And he's like, I wasn't happy with myself. And, you know, the first thing I did, I went back to the gym and started training again. I took it a little more seriously. And I think, and it's good. Somebody told me that they saw me in a match, and they complimented me. And that's when I realized that I'm doing it right now, the way I'm doing it. because I had to change the way I was doing it before because I was totally not.
That's smart.
And I thought he was good. I'm like, you're pretty. I thought you were good, and it's like.
Well, one of those perfectionists, and a lot of guys when they, one or second generation plus they have potential, it can go to their head fast. So some of the guys wouldn't be that humble about it. And that's
what I noticed here. The wrestle here in Cauliflower Alley Club. Some of the guys that you like that are willing to say like, oh, I wasn't that great or something, you're like, no, you actually were pretty good.
Yes.
But it's good that they're not full of themselves.
Exactly. And I think that's kind of sometimes the motivation which made them improve is you think you're not that good and you're just going to try. Better.
And so I mean, CML's been pretty good. There's been some rough shows. There's been some good matches on Tuesdays, but it's like there's not enough for me to like really delve into it. Like, oh my god, I gotta watch it. Templario, as always, has been awesome. I think he's gonna be up next pretty soon. He's gonna be good. He's gonna be the next level.
Very cool.
Audaz too. So.
Who's that?
Audaz,
yes.
Audaz, yeah. So I guess right now we'll put in the part 3 of the Superboy interview that we just did.
Yes, a lot more LA history.
Yeah.
Ghosts of Lucha Libre LA, past, present, and future. Hope you enjoy it.
Oh, funny story. I think I told you the story too of Rocky Ramos. He's involved in a car accident in the middle of the street. And I guess he hit the guy from behind. And he gets out a gig and he chooses himself. So he comes out bleeding and and the person in front just gets so scared he takes off. How that bullshit, this is
that's great.
This is so real, man. Oh my god. He was a character. He was a character. He was one of the people that are always happy, always a smile, always cracking a joke. And he was awesome, man. He was awesome. Rocky Ramos, La Marana. Yeah, he was a...
Yeah, because I had that photo of he and your dad about to have a title match when your dad was young in the picture, too.
Yeah, they had really good battles. And I remember this one match where they take out the turnbuckle. They have the corner. They take it out of the, and there's only the turnbuckle, and then he gets slammed into that, and he just starts bleeding.
That's a great angle.
And there's a picture of him and my dad, and they're both covered in blood, man. I remember all that blood. It was a really cool match. And another one where at the bar they had ¿cómo se llaman las tejas? You know those little chingos that the rooftops.
The tiles.
The tiles.
Yeah.
The tiles. You know there's those ceramic tiles. like the
old Mexican style.
Yeah. The ones that are curved like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, there was this one time where my dad's wrestling. And they pull one of the tiles out and they break it over my dad's head.
Oh wow!
Oh man, that was an epic moment in wrestling in Jaco Plaza.
Oh, that's great.
And he just starts bleeding, and it was a good angle. It was really good, really good.
Again, you mentioned Intercontinental. That's something I haven't thought of in a while. Is he still in the area?
El Continental. You know what? All these guys came back in the 90s. Continental. Lince, he used to wrestle as, oh my god, what was his name? Flamarion.
Oh.
I just
posted a
I
video.
posted when I teamed with
Yes.
him.
Flamarion, Continental, Sal Quintero.
Yeah.
Terremoto Quintero, Triton. All these guys came out, like I said. When the wrestling started, you know who started wrestling back again right here? Well, aside from Platanito doing it at San Bernardino Arena in '87, well, he stopped. And then I remember it was 1989, and they were talking about coming back and doing shows. And I remember having a meeting with Antonio, and some Cuban guy. I can't remember his name. Those are the matches from Capitan, the guy with the mask. On the tapes you brought me.
The manager guy?
Yeah, the manager guy.
Yeah.
Well, he was a promoter. So we went to his house, and he had a cartoon artist right there, and he wanted to give everybody names, and he was designing masks and all this stuff, and it was so cool because this is like 1989, and we're talking about opening a new promotion, doing shows again, and it was Antonio, and it was him. And I remember the guys that were there were my brothers, Piloto, Mercurio. Well, almost all the guys that were in the Titan. And so we had the meeting there anyways. And they started doing the shows. The first shows they did was at the Fogata.
Yes.
From the Fogata,
I had my first lucha style.
Yes, ever. Yeah, the Fogata. After the Fogata, they kind of stopped for a little bit, and then they started doing shows at the Azteca.
Oh yeah, at the Azteca Gym. And
Azteca Gym.
Azteca Gym's where I had my first American style match in '83.
Okay, yeah. So, anyways, they started doing the shows there, but I don't know who was promoting it. And then Cesar Sando started doing his own promotion.
I remember that they called it Arena Mexico, and it was a furniture warehouse. We were always sitting on the couches. Furniture.
I didn't know. You know who that warehouse belonged to?
No,
it belonged to Augie from Lucha Pro, Florence in Maine. You know the owner from the hall right there.
Really?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Dude, I didn't... Because I started talking to him.
Well, because you know what happened to the other Augie, Thunder Machine, at that show, at one of those shows?
You know what happened?
I think it was remember we did the benefit for Gory Chavez when his wife died in the car wreck? Well, it was... I was teaming with Augie and Greg Regalado, and it was against Fisico, Leopardo Negro, and I can't remember who the third was. And we came back into the dressing room, which was where they had which was that, a junkyard in the back. And some guys tried to hotwire Augie's car.
Oh, wow.
And it was right in the middle of the match. We heard nothing, but Tornado Negro Segundo, he and a security, some guy who was working security, saw them, so they ran after the guys. The guys see them coming, they get in their car and they drive away. And the security guard took out his gun and started firing.
Oh, wow.
And so we all looked at each other and says, okay, I think that's the last time we're wrestling here.
Oh my God.
Capitan Asesino.
Yes.
And so anyways, I was talking to Augie because we had a little misunderstanding. And then he goes, I remember you from where Cesar Sando used to rent my place. I go, what do you mean your place? You mean that warehouse? Yeah, that used to be my place. I go, I used to rent it to Cesar Sando. I go, oh my God, I didn't know that. Yeah, so... yeah.
Now, he went back to, was it Monterrey or something?
No, he was from Juarez.
Oh, okay.
From Juarez.
Because I remember he's here for a few years and then just...
Well, the match is not complete.
Yeah.
Because we feud with him.
I remember that.
Yeah, he just took off in the match. Yeah, because I remember going to the show, and I can't remember where I went out. I want to say something to my dad, and my dad was talking to Cesar Sando, and I guess it was like one of the first shows, and my dad was talking to Cesar Sando, and my dad said, "Oh, look, I want to introduce you to Cesar Sando Jr. You know, I used to know his dad." And his
dad was a commissioner and everything.
Yeah, he was a wrestler too.
Yeah.
And so anyways, we said hello and what's up and whatever. And then the following week we wound up wrestling each other. But man, he was stiff and he didn't want to work, and he was trying to shoot.
He used to pull that on. He pulled that on several
everybody.
people.
On everybody, yeah.
Mercurio. On
Yes.
God, who else? That guy Pirata. I can't remember his name.
And so, anyways, Triton pulls me to the side and said, "You know what? Be careful, because this guy wants to shoot on you." Mm-hmm. And they're paisanos. They're from the same, from Juarez, and they know each other. Actually, Triton is not from Juarez. From I can't remember. Querétaro, I think. I don't know. I can't remember. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, he goes, "Yeah, be careful." So, anyways, so we're going at it, and he's not selling, and I'm punching, and my brothers find out, and we kicked the shit out of him, dude. And he just ran.
I remember that. That was bizarre.
Yeah, he just ran, and it was funny because 2 weeks after that, right after my match, I got a bloody mouth, and I went to the bathroom and I'm washing my mouth. And I'm looking at the mirror, and I see him walk in. Mm-hmm. And he walks in with I didn't know it was his cousin at the time. It was his relative. And he's a little gangbanger dude. Oh, no. And then I seen him, and I turned, and I just like walked this way, and then I faced him. I go, if I have to run, I can run out. Yeah. And they go, "Hey, what's up? What's up?" I go, "Oh, what you doing? How you doing? Oh, everything cool? Yeah, everything cool. You okay? Yeah, okay. All right, cool. And that was it. That's all we spoke. And then later on, I found out that he was saying that he confronted me, and that he told me that if we wanted to throw blows, and then I said no, that I chickened out, and
Jesus.
I said, what the hell? I go, what the hell are you talking about? And then I remember I was pissed off. And right after a show at Azteca, he was looking for...
We are discussing Superboy socks. Being misplaced all over the home right now.
He's losing his socks. Yes. He's losing his minds.
I want Superboy to mention the tag match he had in Tijuana, where he teamed up with a midget. Piratita Morgan.
Oh man, it was
because he was telling us a story. He was telling us a story about
Mascarita
Sagrada.
Oh, yes,
I wanted to tell that story because there's a couple of people that listen that would really enjoy this.
Well, I remember it was Promociones Baja California, so I go down there, and it turns out that I'm scheduled for a match where it's gonna be a not so midget guy with a midget. Yeah. Which is me. And then it was Solar and Mascarita Sagrada. And still at the time, Mascarita Sagrada, he had a big saying in what goes on in wrestling. And so anyways, I get there, and I don't even understand the match. So anyways, I literally told him, "Dude, I'm gonna do a moonsault on you." He goes, "No, you're not." "No, you're not." I go, "Okay, well, Suki took it." Oh man, you should have seen his reaction. He just turned. "What? Oh, do it. He's like, "Yeah, do it." But he goes, he received. I go, "Yeah." And so anyways, I wound up doing the moonsault. But it was funny because I didn't know they had such of a there was so competitive, competitive and heat, because I think Suki took over the name and was trying to take over his spot, but he had a lot of pull. He was the man for so many years, and even after AAA, he was still he had a lot of pull.
Still around, isn't he?
Yeah, he's still around.
Both of them, Suki.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We saw Suki.
Recently, he tagged up with Sergio.
Suki's tagged with Sergio.
Yeah. It was Otro Romano and Octagoncito versus Legacy and Suki.
Yeah, really?
Oh my god, I would have loved to have seen that.
It was in.
Did he tell Sergio what to do?
No, but he was like, how Octagoncito, he's very special, but he really likes Sergio. Yeah, he really likes Sergio. Yeah, they work. It's easy to work with, But it was so funny watching Suki, how how he just grabs the ropes and swing and goes from one corner to the other. And oh man, it's funny. It was so good. But yeah, I did wrestle Suki, and I did do a moonsault on him.
Wow.
Yeah, and when he wouldn't agree, I said, "Oh." I go, wow, out of the, I just thought, oh, well, Suki took it, well, why shouldn't you? What? He just looked at me. Do it.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
No, I remember once, I think one of the first interviews I ever did with you was like, first couple of years we knew each other, and I remember you had mentioned your dad was a little hesitant about you becoming a wrestler just because of all the jealousy that is present in wrestling. How is it now being a dad whose kids are in the
It's the same.
business?
It's the same. Really, it's the same. I experienced it firsthand. I grew up with these guys, idolizing them, seeing them wrestle, being friends in the gym, And, to my surprise, that when I started wrestling, I went for an okay, how to see the match. And, you suck, dude, and I was just getting...
Thank you.
I was just getting bad reviews and just giving me the shits, and I was like, oh my god, and these are my friends.
Yeah. Right.
And I was heartbroken, dude. I was really, really heartbroken. And I can't remember who it was that said, you have it easy because of your brothers and your dad. Your dad pulls his weight around, and that was bullshit. Because my dad never spoke on my brother's behalves or my behalf. And that's what, motivated me to become a better wrestler. And as a matter of fact, some of my first matches were in TJ. They were not even here. I did a lot of my matches, I did them in TJ. And I went there and I remember wrestling and, after I was almost becoming a local down there.
Yeah.
When they talking to people, and he goes, "Oh, you have any brothers?" They're like, "Yeah, Capitan Oro, Príncipe de Oro, they're my brothers," and they were pretty well known. Like, "Oh, you should have told me." I go, "What for?"
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You didn't want special treatment, or
No. Anyways, I already had made a little name for myself because I remember going down there wrestling Chamaco Martinez, El Pandita.
Pandita, yes.
Yeah, Turi Gonzalez. From the beginners to all the way to the main eventers. And they would put me in different matches, third, semi-main, third. And, I really didn't mind. I just wanted to go in and, just for the thrill down there, just to wrestle, get the experience. And, I come back, and I was pretty pissed off because I had flyers where I was main eventing or doing a third match. And I come to LA to the Fogata, and my first match is the third match. And I was so pissed off. You couldn't believe how pissed off I was that day because Chamaco Rebelde was in the main event.
I remember that, yes.
And it was his debut.
Yes.
It was his debut, and it was in the main event.
Man.
It was in the main event. And I was so ticked off. And I told Antonio, hey, what the hell? I showed him my programs. They go, look, does he have this?
Then he put you in a match with Kurt Brown, and you're
And then you were really pissed off.
And then
And I can picture Antonio probably just shrugged. Like, whatever.
And then I started feuding with Bad Boy. And,
Yes.
And King Cora.
King Cora, yes.
Yeah. And I had great matches with him. And it was pretty cool. But yeah, it's heartbreaking because some of the guys that you think a lot of, and they just try to put you down. And I made a name for myself.
Yeah.
I really didn't need my dad's pull or my brother's pull. Really,
no, you worked for what you got. You worked your butt off. I mean,
yeah.
I remember as you were progressing, you reminded me a lot of a flying version of Babyface. Is you just look, you could do all the flying, but you just look so badass. You know, when you're doing the mat work and the brawling too. And I just thought, you know, you're coming into your own. You're not just like following somebody's lead.
I had my own style. I had that mortal look. Mm-hmm. And I just tried to imitate my dad. You know, I remember my dad just standing firm and you know, and working the crowd, man. And that's one thing I loved of my dad, and I always watched and admired. Mm-hmm. You know, he was standing and he would say, like, "Cállese, pinche vieja!" Get up and be all pissed off at him and stuff. Yeah, it was pretty cool. You know, just growing up and watching, had the privilege of watching him wrestle. And for a big guy, my dad used to do the planchas off the top. He used to do the topes from the middle to the outside.
Wow.
Yeah, and he was a big guy.
First Hadco show I went to, he was in the main event, is a 6-man. The two people I remember were him and Gory Chavez. And I remember seeing Gory Chavez, you know, first time I'd ever seen him. I said, you know, I don't expect much here. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying, holy shit, this guy moves like a dancer. And then I see your dad in there too, and I'm going, these are big dudes who move like effortlessly.
And it reminds me of a show where me and Capitan come out, and I think it's a 1-on-1. And look at these fat dudes. You know, they weren't expecting much, and we had the crowd eating out of our hands by the end of the show.
Well, you remember that match you had with the Capitan in West Hollywood for Dan and Larry that time when Phyllis Lee was there?
Yes.
And she saw you guys come out, and she just says, you know, I don't expect much here. And then she's like, oh my God, did these guys want bookings? These guys are great.
Well, actually, you know what? Mm-hmm. I think in that time, I remember she was talking to, later on, because she went to another show. Was it the same show? Where Sabu was booked and
that was that show.
And Damien, okay,
it was that show.
Well, she was actually booking for ECW.
Yes, and she was booking Dan Severn. She was booking Al Snow.
Exactly, and I remember I was trying to stay away from her because Beef Wellington told me, "Oh, if you ever run into Phyllis Lee, man, she's bad news. You know, don't mingle with her.
I got along with her, but she was crooked. Mm-hmm. She was." Yeah. And Dan Severn cut ties with her eventually too. You know what I mean? I think she tried to, you know, work Dan and Larry and stuff like that, and that kind of pissed me off.
Well, yeah, you know, it's part of this business, you know?
Yeah.
Now, come on, those guys that you just mentioned, you know, now they're doing the same, you know? Mm-hmm. It's just a little chain, you know, it goes back and forth, you know. Maybe they did it to them, now they're doing it to somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's just the way this business goes, you know.
I think it's probably been this way in the business since it started in the 1800s when they were fixing matches for gambling purposes.
Yeah.
You know, it's just interesting how the business has evolved, but it still has that same aspect.
Yeah, but unfortunately, this, you know, the kayfabe's gone. You know,
I kind of like it's gone.
I
hate the kayfabe, to be honest. You know. No, actually, I like that kayfabe was there because that's what made the business fascinating. But I'm glad that kayfabe died, because if kayfabe never died, we could never tell the true history of this business. You know. It'd just be fiction.
Now everything's exposed on social media.
Yeah,
that's right. But I still believe you can't go back to the way it was. But I think if you still work the crowd right, you can still get good heat and still.
Oh no, that's, you know, you still have kayfabe, you know. But what I don't like about nowadays is that fans are mingling too much with the wrestlers, and wrestlers are, you know, just to get an extra penny here or there. You know, they're exposing more of the business, more than people should know. You know, one thing that was, you know, it was cool to mingle with fans, but you know, they'll sponsor you maybe dinner, and you go and you have fun. You will sell a little mask here and there.
Yeah.
And I think that was the best way to do it, you know. But now they're now these fans are now they're seeing how business runs, and they're trying to become promoters or bookers.
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem. Is I appreciate the fans who like to hang with you and being a fan. Well, we were talking about Zach earlier. Mm-hmm. Zach is a guy who comes to the shows, but he's not trying to be the show.
No.
And there's a lot of fans who don't realize you're a member of the audience. You accentuate the show. You're not the show, And so, I remember.
Are you talking about that one guy at the PWG show?
That's one example.
He knows who it is.
Who?
That guy Ed.
Oh yeah.
And it's like
I didn't even have to say the beer.
Exactly. One of these days he's going to say something to the wrong person, and the thing is I feel a little guilty now looking back, like in the late '70s, early '80s, when I'd kind of laugh at some of the goofier fans, and I said, but those are the fans that would give you the shirt off your back.
Yes.
Those are the fans who always paid. They weren't. There's so many fans who expect to get in free all the time now. They want to be, like I said, they want to be part of the show.
Before there was no problem with getting people in, but there was a proper way of doing it. You know how this way was? You see the wrestler coming, hey, can I take your bag in? Yes. And then we'll go grab your bag and, oh yeah, he's with me.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So he'll go to the locker room up to the door, give your bag, and that may won their way into the show. But now these guys, they want to be part of the promotion. They want to be part of the business. And they don't know jack about the business, but they're always real opinionated about it. Now they have talk shows. Mm-hmm. They have internet shows where
they have podcasts.
Like podcasts, like LuchaWorld.
But it's different.
Yeah, I know.
You have respect. I have a lot of respect for you. You know what you're talking about. You've been in this business for 5 decades. For crying out loud, And
makes me feel old. My next gimmick will be El Viejo.
El Viejo Gabacho.
El Viejo Gabachito, thank you.
No, you have people that don't even know what the hell they're talking about, but they're always, trying to to create some kind of controversy. I've always said, if you're gonna talk something about someone, have the people in front of you, have them in front of you, so you could talk shit and they can talk shit back to you.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's the way I see it of doing a talk show or talking about somebody. Mm-hmm. I can't. That's why I never like to mention names or talk about really bad about people because they're not here. And they can't defend themselves. And that's one thing that I've always been real hard on, But these people, man, they think they know it all. Mm-hmm. They always want to think they have, they're right. Oh, and I'm behind the mic so I can say whatever the fuck I want. What kind of shit is that? Come
Again,
on, man.
lack of discipline.
Exactly right.
Earn that spot to be behind the mic.
Exactly. It's just. It's hard. It's really hard. And that's why I've been in two radio stations, and that's one of the reasons why I've left them, because they want to talk shit about people. They want to talk bad about people. And if you don't have them in front of you, they'll talk shit.
And they don't really know them.
Exactly. And then they invite people, just like the guy I was telling you about earlier, and they're talking shit out of their ass, and they don't even... because they don't train. And some of these guys tell me, well, don't pay me, but let my family in. And they bring like 8 or 10 people. But that's bullshit. Nobody brings them from 8 or 10 people. And they go, oh, yeah, they bring their wife, they bring their kids, they bring their cousins, even their neighbors. No, that's not true, dude. If you're a family member, you understand this business. Hey, I'm not getting paid. Well, might as well bring my wife and my kids.
Yeah.
And these guys, they don't pay. They're always owing you money. That's why I respect the old days, because you had to have some kind of money in the bag. If you're gonna do a show, you had money to back you up.
Yeah.
You have everything to back you up. Nowadays, you're relying on that. On the box office, on whatever comes in that day. And if you don't make enough, hey, you're going to be screwed,
I was going to say, when you're promoting a show, that should be part of the budget. You should know what you're, getting. You might get a small house,
Yeah. And then the worst part is that you have 5 bookings in one day. You got 5 promoters doing a show in one day.
Yes.
That's what we've noticed.
Oh my God, it's like how many shows are there on any given Sunday? And now Fridays and Saturdays. It's like
but again, the people's gonna go to the person that promotes the best.
Yes.
A lot of people criticize FMLL.
Yeah.
Oh, they're expensive. It's so expensive. But Homeboy gets up early, go all of Alameda, go all of East LA. You see his damn posters. You see his banners. You see him. He's one of the, one of the only guys that are mailing programs to their addresses. He has all their addresses, and he spends so much money and time on mailing in the flyers.
Really?
He mails them in.
Wow. See,
he's doing his work. He goes to a radio station. He's knocking on doors. Hey, can you promote this? Hey, how much is it going to cost? Hey, he's doing all that.
That's something that has amazed me for years about promoters is how they just get a couple of flyers or just put something on Facebook and just expect everybody to magically appear. Sometimes not even spreading word in the neighborhood that there's a show.
No. En Mexico. It's funny because these guys think that social media is going to bring all these people, and no. If you don't promote it correctly, if you're going to just put it in your page and tag a couple of people, all it's going to bring you is from 30 to 50 people.
And half of those people, like you say, are those fans who think they're special, who are being owed something.
Exactly, and it's that's no business. That's no business. You can't rely on that. It's about promotion. You get your flyers. You go out. You pass them out on the streets. You go. You put your posters. You go in a couple of businesses. Hey, Chief, can I put my poster here? Hey, you know what? Here's 2 tickets for you and your wife. Oh, I don't like wrestling. Well, give them to somebody that would appreciate the tickets.
Yeah.
You know that these 2 people, they're gonna go in for free, but hey, you have the concession. They're gonna buy a soda, they're gonna buy a torta, they're gonna buy something. You gotta buy something, So that's the way you gotta think business wise. And it's about promoting.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, it's like the same people who have fantasies about like opening a really cool coffee house or a club. They don't realize it's not just something fun to do. It's fucking work.
Nobody opens coffee houses anymore.
Not only do all the time, everywhere.
Not only that, but the
coffee houses are still
really they're coming back.
There's still a lot of bohemian types. Or
the part that's being left out is that it's a business. It is a business, and if you want to conduct a business the right way, you gotta promote yourself in the right way.
Exactly.
I don't. You're always gonna ask for favors. Especially when you've done a lot.
Yeah.
And you know when to ask for favors. Who to rely on, and so you have a good promotion.
Yes.
And again, I'm not. If you're doing good, hey, give the guys extra. That's one thing I loved about Japan. Every year, one of the guys, if you were in their hometown, they would run a show. And I remember we went to Jinsei's hometown, and he ran a show. He had a packed house, and then at the end of the day, they handed us this envelope with $50. And what's this? Oh, it's a bonus. Oh, great house.
Yeah.
And dude, who in this business?
Nobody here does that. Huh?
Nobody. I never see nobody do that.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's so fucking cool.
That's
Thank you.
Rare. That is very rare.
And who does that? And
only promoter I ever heard of doing that was Texas, Paul Bosch. He would act from the opener wrestlers for the main event. In addition to whatever he guaranteed him, he'd give him a small percentage of the house. Which
you don't like gas money or something.
Exactly.
Like
in a business like wrestling, especially back then when you're always on the road, that helps.
Almost definitely, because sometimes you look at it this way. Well, I'm getting $100. Out of this $100, $60 are going to gas. 25 is going for my dinner. What am I left with?
$15.
Yeah.
You know, and then I gotta wash the clothes.
Yeah.
Or not wash them and.
No, you have to wash it.
man.
You gotta wash it. You know, so there's your $100.
Yeah.
You know, nowadays with gasoline, so you know, dude, I had so many problems with one promoter that, you know, we were going so far, and I go, dude, it's just food only. It's $80.
Yes.
Yeah.
I go, it's 5 of us. You know, it's my wife, my kids, myself, and you know, we don't eat light. You know, I can't work like that, you know.
Yeah.
And we're driving, you know, a couple of miles. It's not around the corner.
Yeah.
So they, you know, I understand, you know, so that's when you're willing to help, it's cool. But when you know they're promoting good, they have good sponsors and stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, hey, they treat you right. If my dad always said, take care of your wrestlers, take care of your stars and your locals, because these are the guys that are going to be coming back, and these are the guys that are going to be bringing in the people. Because if, you know, you're not always going to have El Santo, Mil Máscaras, or whoever's coming. They're not always going to be here, and every time they come, you got to pay airplane, airfare, their guarantee. You know, and then they expect to take you to take them somewhere to dinner.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that I was going to talk about promoters. You know, well, not promoters, fans. They're promoting, but they're still fans. They're taking these guys to Disneyland. They're taking them to eat. They're driving them. You know, like if they were relatives.
Yeah, it's like they want to be. They're doing it because they want to be cool, because they want to be with a star instead of, you know.
And you know when you start noticing that, you know, it's like, oh, it's Macho Man. Oh, mi amigo Ricardo. Now they're
they know
saying by the first name. Yeah, you know, it's funny, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, it has come to this, and yeah, you know, it's cool.
You didn't get invited to Disneyland to go with Ramon?
No. Hell no. Shit. I got invited to eat tacos when they were like 2 weeks after. Hey, I invited you to the tacos. Ah, fuck.
You didn't get to call him Don Ramon?
Yeah, the only thing is, if you're gonna invite me, I'm not gonna order 5 or 10 tacos. I ordered 2 hours of tacos.
Yes,
Where's the all-you-can-eat sign? Come on. Don't chintz on me.
We should probably wrap this up so I could cure the cheese man about the mystery promoter.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, in fact, this, Fredo, this brings me back to our old Slam and Stand days.
This will be cut into pieces.
Almost 2 hours here.
That's why I have to edit out that part where we were talking about.
We could talk with you all night, Superboy, and we'll be talking with you again, no doubt, because, man, just talking about the history of this region is always fun, and thank you so much for sharing your time with us.
No, thank you for always coming by and having a great time.
Awesome.
I enjoy these talks.
So do we.
You have to make sure Kurt turns it off.
But before I do, I have to say, hey, you hip cats.
You don't have to do it. I'm going to...
Hare Krishna! We have returned.
Yes. The final part of the Superboy interview, which, you know, was fun, and I'm sure we'll do more later on.
Oh, yes.
We'll just have to remember not to ask them the same questions over and over again. Then again, I mean, it's kind of like, there's so much to talk
and
about.
He's somebody who has just such a storied history and just so many anecdotes to share. You know, always awesome talking with him.
So by the time this gets posted, I'm sure the Elite show will be happening. But there was an Elite. Elite is alive.
Alive and well?
Yes, alive and well. They're running a show. They're running a tournament. It's basically called Gladiators, and it's just divisions, weight classes. There's a heavyweight, the tag team, the middleweight. I think there's a cruiserweight, and then there's like some other division. But yeah, they're doing a show, and they are working with AAA, MLW. Here's Impact, and here's another promotion you wouldn't have known was still in existence. Aero Lucha.
Really?
Yes, they are not even using Lucha Underground.
Oh my God.
Think about that. We just heard about the whole Lucha Underground. 3 more people filing lawsuits against Lucha Underground, and Willie Mack having issues with the Lucha Underground. I mean, I don't get it.
And what are they trying to prove at this point?
I think it's time they just call it quits.
Yeah.
I mean, why keep up with this? I mean, why send cease and desist letters to anybody if you're not...
the only publicity you hear about Lucha Underground are
the lawsuits.
That's it.
There's nothing else to it.
Releases.
Yeah. So it's like, and I mean, it tells you when AAA and Elite aren't even using the Lucha Underground name.
I know.
I mean, Aero Lucha, really?
Come on.
I mean, Aero Lucha, they don't even run shows. I mean, they run fewer shows than Elite, and it's like, I don't know. But the show looks good though. I do want to watch it. I'll probably watch it when I get back home. That'll probably be the next podcast. I'll be watching that. But yeah, did you get to watch Sexy Star's MMA debut?
I did not. And
Why
how
not?
did that turn out? Because I gotta be honest, I had not even heard a result. So what happened?
She won.
She won?
I actually watched the fight.
How was it?
She beat the crap out of the girl.
Wow.
It's funny because there was a lot of people trying to tell me like, she wouldn't. It was a lot closer than you think, and I'm like, dude, no, it wasn't, because that other girl was getting her face busted up, and she never had the advantage at any point.
Wow.
She was because she wanted to take her down to the ground, but she never really was able to get her. So I think what happened was that Sexy Star, having been in wrestling and in boxing and all this other stuff, I think she was a little more prepared than the girl that she was fighting, because the other girl was debuting also.
Okay, yeah. Yes.
So I don't think she had, wrestling. A lot of people say, "Oh, wrestling's fake" and all this stuff, but a lot of what they teach you in wrestling, the training, does have some stuff where it's like
old school. I mean, it's not they didn't teach anything as sophisticated as MMA, but they did teach somewhat sophisticated shooting holds.
Yeah, and in Lucha too. I mean, you just even be able to take your opponent down, or
absolutely,
all that stuff. So she was able to she beat the crap out of the girl, and I mean, I don't know. She's better. She has a better record than CM Punk. I mean,
maybe that should be her next match.
I mean,
I'd pay to see that actually.
I kind of thought she looked better in MMA than she did in boxing or wrestling. So
well, it'll be interesting to see if she has more matches and the quality of the fighters.
Yeah.
So.
If they step up, or they actually get people with a little more experience, maybe that's going to be the hard part for her.
I think so. Yeah.
But maybe it's also worked because Alberto's like one of the involved with Combates America. So
true. That
the whole Combates America is like pretty It's very close to wrestling, I think, because there's a lot of people that they're willing to get wrestling people. So I think there's a little bit of a
less of a stigma.
Yeah, I don't know.
They'd be foolish to work stuff if fighters were involved and were going to be working in the States and other promotions.
The other thing, because I don't think I brought it up on my last podcast, Cain Velasquez is going to be in Triple Mania. Was Cain Velasquez in the main event of that Anaheim show that we went to? The UFC show?
It was. I think it was his first title defense, first or second, and it was a shocker because he got TKO'd by Junior Dos Santos.
Yes. I was trying to remember because somebody was they were like, "Do you know Cain Velasquez?" Like, I think I went to one of his fights. Like, I think it was the first show on Fox, right? And I was like, but I don't remember. It's like, I don't remember his opponent.
We saw title change.
Yes.
Yeah, we saw world title change.
That just shows you how little interest I had. Like,
I remember the fight of the night one that was most entertaining was Clay Guida versus I think it was, I can't remember if it was Benson Henderson or Cub Swanson. I think it was Benson Henderson.
Mm-hmm.
But Clay Guida would look good wrestling, fighting anybody.
Yeah. But what do you think of Cain and Triple Mania? Are you gonna watch it? No.
no, but I am curious. I'm gonna wait till afterwards and see if it's worth trying to retrieve it somewhere streaming.
You gotta think he's gonna be like in a tag or trios match.
I hope they're careful.
I don't think they're gonna put him in some sort of match, and they're gonna put him in with guys like the people that they had with him, like Penta, Psycho Clown, Tejano Jr. Those are guys who can pretty much mix it up with anybody, and it won't look horrible. It might not be the greatest thing you've ever seen, but it's gonna be good. Psycho Clown has been amazing this year. He's been amazing the last 2 years.
He's like it's funny you think that Psycho Clown would be like top bill.
Yeah.
You always think of him as
because he should be, but it's like
yes.
but it's like they never he's the main guy and everybody knows it, but they're pushing Dr. Wagner Jr. and Blue Demon Jr. Mask versus Hair, and it's like, man, Psycho Clown is like he's the star.
It's amazing.
You know,
it's just you never know in wrestling who's gonna have appeal. It's just
Well, he's good. That's why.
Yeah.
You know who's surprisingly good? Oh God, I think it's Murder Clown.
Really?
Yes.
I can't remember the last time I've seen him.
Well, when they were a trio, probably Psycho Circus.
A long time ago.
But like, he's the one with the beard, I think, the Murder Clown.
Yeah.
He just had a complete turnaround, and he's good.
Oh my gosh.
Like all of a sudden, he's good. Like before, remember he would be like, "Oh, he's like Diamante Azul and all those guys."
Right, yes.
Like we don't want to see them. Now he's like, "Holy shit!" He's doing 619s and all this stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but it's like they're doing a lot of stuff with
a little rejuvenation there.
AAA is going to be an MSG on September 15th.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of groundbreaking.
Yeah,
that's a bit of history actually.
The only thing I worry about is like AAA's so old school in the way they do things.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily in terms of wrestling, but the way the promoters think. Because when they were talking about how they were going to draw interest into the show, and they're like, "Oh, well, there's Latinos. We'll market to the Latinos," and it's like, yeah, that's
you never know because for a long time that was true here in Southern California.
Yeah.
If a lucha show came around, but big time lucha shows would only come around maybe a couple times a year, and they were unpredictable when they'd be around. So they would just put ads in the Spanish newspapers, maybe some radio ads. A lot of people would come. They'd have in the thousands.
Yeah.
But if you do it too often,
for every show that had 1,000 or thousands, there's that show like in Pico Rivera.
Exactly.
That only do like 200 people or less.
Yes.
And that was a real big money loser right there.
Oh my God, that was painful.
Because that
was a painful.
They
one.
brought in so many CMLL guys for that show. It was insane.
Yeah, and we're talking maybe 200 people. I don't think most of them were paid.
Wow. Yeah. Did we pay?
We paid actually. Yeah. So
it's good.
Yeah, we're nice.
Yeah, we're nice people. We pay. The other news, Garza Jr.
Yes.
Finally going to WWE NXT. Yes. I still remember when we were interviewing him, and he didn't know when. And that was last year. Around this time. Yeah. 1 year later, he made it.
That's right.
But right. I hope he does. I hope they do something with him because he's got a good look.
That would be cool.
But there's so many guys that I think they should do stuff with. Like not just him. DJ Z got a WWE deal.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many guys. But I was talking about this with a couple of people. Like guys go to WWE and they don't get to do what they used to do. Like Ricochet. Ricochet is fucking awesome. But then in WWE they gotta like water him down, and it's like.
And that's the thing with people when it's their ultimate goal to go to WWE. I think what percentage of them realize that that's what will happen.
Yeah.
You don't get to call the shots.
Yeah.
It's not a place where you say this is my gimmick. I get to do this. No, they tell you what to do.
It kind of it works for them, but at the same time it just doesn't, because it doesn't allow for
I think homogenizes the product.
So it's like. And it gets worse because sometimes they give you an opportunity in NXT and you actually are doing your character, doing something cool. Then when they call you up to WWE or SmackDown, and it's like suddenly like you're back to being just a generic guy.
Exactly.
Because you're not like, they can't have you be ahead of somebody else, and it's like, oh, it's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
So what else? Do you have anything else you wanted about Lucha?
No.
Anything you were thinking about? Oh, well, I did meet Drake. I should mention
that's right.
I met Drake from AAA. Really good guy. If you haven't watched any of the AAA show matches that he's had, he's looked really good. He was telling me how he has to hear them speak in Spanish, and he gets he gets enough of it to get through, and he does. It's worked for him.
That's cool. Like I said, you never know who you're going to run into at Cauliflower Alley.
He's got a good look. He's a good looking guy, so I think he has a shot.
Very cool.
He's got potential. I do think he picked the perfect time to be in AAA right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I shouldn't say anything about like no. Don't sign a contract. Just work shows. But because basically, you honestly, you got to use that as a stepping stone to go. If you're American, you got to use lucha as a stepping stone to go to like AEW, WWE and stuff like that.
Higher ground.
Yeah, like it's not that AAA is not a bad place, but you're always going to be at a certain level because they have the stars, they're going to use the guys, and I'm kind of glad that they've kind of gone. Remember when Conan first returned to AAA, one of the things he wanted to do was get rid of all the Mexicans and bring in a lot of foreigners.
Yes, that's
remember?
Right. That's
and
right.
Fortunately, he realized there's a lot of talent in Mexico.
There is.
It's amazing because there are guys that are getting booked in the elite shows, and they're based as elite guys, and they're still considered independents. So it's like there's still a lot of talent available for like other promotions.
Wow.
I mean, it's great. Like Aramis.
That's cool.
Aramis is good.
Yeah. I remember even Conan saying when I first met him, even back then, he said just back then in the late 80s how much talent there was in Mexico that you've never seen.
Well, I was telling Drake, I go, didn't you work your first show with AAA guys? And he's like, yeah. And I go, but this last show you worked with the TJ Locals. And he's like, yeah. And I go, how was that? He's like, well, you just kind of go with it. It's wrestling,
right.
So it's not that. He's like, if you notice, I didn't do any of the crazy stuff. I did dives, and I did my spots. He's like, but since some of that stuff I'm not really gonna do because I'm not familiar with them. He's like, so I wasn't able to do that. But he's a good guy. I think he's got talent. Cool. He's somebody that I think should. There's certain guys that have gone to AAA and it's like, oh, they're horrible. This guy looked like he's good. I think he's got Puma Kings working main events in AAA too. So AAA is doing well now.
Very good.
CML is doing okay, but
yeah,
they
just need a little refreshing.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. I think every show we're gonna do for like the longest time is just gonna be us talking about how boring CML is.
How great the wrestlers are, but how tepid the booking is. Well, every now and then they do something really bright. But not to expect it to last too long.
Well, I was watching the women. I tried to watch the women's match last Friday, and then like they did the exact same spot, and I'm like, okay, I think I'm done. And it had La Comandante and Seductora.
Yeah.
So it was like double trouble, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna watch it.
Yes.
Because I want to watch it because it had Kaho Kobayashi. I think she's talented. But it's
I
like,
do too.
But why are you wasting them on this? It's like it's
Yeah.
They gotta bring in. That's the thing. Like I think. They got to go with the younger girls, not phase out the older women, just go a little more with the younger women because, how many years can Marcella be like the main person?
Oh, no,
Or Amapola, as much as I like her, but it's like, and Amapola could be fine just because if you put her with a younger person, she could work with. Same thing with Marcella, but it's like.
She's the perfect person. Marcella and Amapola are the perfect people to put in with younger girls,
but it's like
they can develop into solid workers.
And it's like, but instead of that, it's like you're just getting the same match over and over again because they're not planning that stuff out.
It's like the people booking just want to take care of people in their age range.
And I'm sure the women have some involvement in it because
you're trying to hold on to a spot.
Because Marcella is dating Tyson La Bestia, and he's now working CML shows. Whenever she's wrestling, like in Puebla or Guadalajara, he shows up. And if you've not seen Tyson La Bestia, consider yourself lucky.
Really?
He is really bad. Granda level. Worse. Cibernetico level.
Oh my God! I'll avert my eyes.
Yeah.
Too painful to watch.
Yeah, but that's what's going on with Lucha. I don't know.
Just been quiet lately.
It's been. There's been a couple good. I should say AAA's. I watched a couple of matches from the recent AAA show that I thought were pretty good. The main event was wild, kind of your ECW style main event where guys run in. The only difference is like when AAA used to do the run-ins. Remember, it was always like really just a bunch of guys.
It was random.
And you just wanted to get over with because the guys in the match were just as bad as the guys that were running in.
Yes.
Whereas now. The guys who are actually working the match are pretty good, and then you have guys running in that are pretty good as well. So it's like, oh, this is cool.
And there's rhyme and reason to it, like timing.
Poder del Norte is running in. They're good. Hijo Vikingo's running in. He's good. Taurus is running in. He's good. So it's like, and then Puma's in the match. Rey Scorpion's in the match. So Psycho Clown's in the match. So it's everybody's good except maybe La Parca.
Yes.
But they stretchered him out. which is the right way to do stuff with. I think that's what they're gonna have to do with Atlantis and CMLL.
Probably. Oh my god. It's so hard to watch because he was so great.
Even like before he got hurt. I mean, jeez, so sad. Yeah.
Do you think he's just holding on to drop the mask, or do you think he's just holding on because he doesn't want to give it up?
I'm hoping he's only holding on just for his son. But I know better. He's gonna stick around for the long.
That's too bad because it just looks like he's in pain.
And it's sad because I was my YouTube channel. That's all it is. Like it's either AAA ruined wrestling, Antonio Pena ruined Lucha Libre, or it's these guys, Atlantis, Blue, and all these older guys. They're still hanging on and they're not good. And why don't they just retire? But I was telling a couple of wrestlers from the U.S. I was like, the reason they don't retire is like, what else are they gonna do?
It's their identity.
Yeah, what else are they gonna do? They don't have this fallback plan. They can't especially nowadays. Once you hit 40, you're not gonna be the first choice. Yeah, you can't start a career. You can start a career at 40. I mean, that's different. Yeah. But like 50, 55, 60. Yeah, it's pretty much that's in the U.S. That's when you're thinking of retiring.
Absolutely.
And in Mexico, unfortunately, it's
you work.
Yeah, you work. That's if you don't make money.
But that's what I thought was so awesome about Ray Mendoza making his kids learn vocations and stuff before they became wrestlers.
And I think one of them does it now. I think that's cool. I think the dentist.
Okay, that's cool.
He's doing it now. So, because I think one of the wrestlers said that when he had a toothache, he went with him.
Man, what I would give to get my teeth worked on by one of the Villanos, wearing his mask.
Yes.
Man, that would be worth the ticket.
Well, look at Blue Panther. He's a massage therapist. Dandy's also that now. Also.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. I think Marco Corleone did it the right way. Once you hit a certain age, I mean, you just got to retire.
Yeah, that's smart.
And he got out.
Yeah. And, you see in opposite somebody who was really successful, like Ric Flair, who went kicking and screaming. I mean, that guy didn't retire.
I saw somebody called Ric Flair Empresario, wrestler and Empresario. And I'm like, dude, Empresario from what, dude? He owes so many people a lot of money. It's like...
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure... Yeah. I don't even think he's ever paid back high spots. Remember that whole issue?
Probably not.
Yeah.
And even in his autobiography that was out, 15 years ago... Yeah. He himself kind of says, "I throw money away."
Yeah,
just
because he's living the gimmick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I'm actually happy when I hear about people like Corleone who have their feet on the ground and say there's more to life than this, especially when if you're gonna have kids and stuff.
Yeah, he's got a young kid. He's got an older kid and he has a young kid. He has a beautiful wife. So he's doing well.
That's cool.
That's what I tell people. Like they laugh because it's like. They'll be like, certain wrestlers like, oh, he's horrible or he sucks. It's like, yeah, but he's doing well. Look at his wife or look who he's with. It's like, yeah.
I know your legacy isn't just whether you're on TV successful.
I just think it's the better way to go. Like if I agree. I think a guy like we were talking about Jerry Estrada, and I was like, Jerry Estrada. That was a hard one to watch. That was the hardest one to watch because his body looked like it was in extreme pain, but it looked like he really wanted to keep doing it. And that's what I was trying to tell people. It's like in Mexico, they still want to use the older people, the older talent, because of the nostalgia and all that. Yeah. Here, I think it's more of a concern. Because of somebody dies, you're fucking worried about it. Exactly. Whereas over there, it's like, oh yeah, bring in Mano Negra even though he can't move, and it's like bring in Jerry Estrada even though he's now age is older. Mil Mascaras is fucking in his when he was in CML, he's like 77 or 78 years old. It's like, guys, you can't have these guys. I know. You gotta start elevating the younger guys because otherwise. You're just gonna keep living with this stuff. See, I think that's where both promotions are kind of like not. Although AAA's kind of been forced to do it, but they don't do it as much. They've done it a little more, but CMLL and even CMLL does it, but they don't go full on as the young guys. You know what I mean? Like there should be more of that.
There should be more of it, and I always wonder what is in the mindset when they resist that. Is it like they're scared if they let kind of this younger generation go upward with them, if that's going to be taking their friends' spots or something, and you never know.
Yeah, it's just a weird thing.
Who's in the booking office?
Yeah. So I think that's about it, Kurt.
Okay, well, this has been fun getting updated, and I didn't even have to watch anything.
No.
So, and I learned something too.
You learned Sexy Star is a better MMA fighter than CM Punk.
Yes, and I believe it. I'd pay to see them fight, and I'd put my money on her.
Yeah.
I would. Okay, until next time.